It's been a week since Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th at Utah Valley University. The NFL honored Charlie Kirk with moments of silence, yet this is the same league that effectively exiled Colin Kaepernick for kneeling during the national anthem. The line was that politics didn't belong in sports, but when it comes to honoring a white conservative man who spread polarizing rhetoric, suddenly politics is welcome. That double standard says a lot about what kind of politics America tolerates in public spaces and what kind it silences. And in that same week, a Fox News host said that homeless people should be euthanized. Think about that, an on-air call for extermination of some of the most vulnerable people in society. MAGA didn't flood his employer with demands that he be fired. He didn't lose his job. He simply issued an apology and remains employed. Compare that to the wave of firings that swept across the country when ordinary workers posted comments about Charlie Kirk. The contrast exposes what this is really about: power, protection, and whose speech is allowed to cross the line.
My only issue with Jimmy Kimmel and this whole brouhaha he finds himself inflamed with is not that, oh my God, you can't say a joke. I am incredibly alarmed by what appears to be our First Amendment rights being attacked. This is what I do for a living. I don't like that. But you know he's coming. And you know part of the reason why is to get back at everybody who tried to take him down. They didn't try to keep him out of the White House and that was it. They tried to throw him in prison. The man is coming and you have to adjust accordingly. Nexstar has to adjust. All these broadcast corporations have to adjust. Madison Avenue has to adjust. Wall Street has to adjust. Corporate America has to adjust. China's had to adjust. Mexico has had to adjust. France, England, Germany, everybody has to make an adjustment. It's the real world.
It is disgusting to suggest that we should just sit back and adjust to fascism. Fuck that. We revolt, we boycott, and we protest with our wallets. We let these corporations know that if they choose to lay down for authoritarianism, we will not stand with them. And we certainly won't stand for Stephen A. Smith being complicit in normalizing it. So Emily Wilson thought it would be cute to post an Instagram reel about me to her story, and she added to it that she loves watching us cry when we lose our jobs. Now, I'm blocked on every platform, so I'm really hoping someone can screen record this and send it to her. I know you're confused, and that's honestly on brand for you, but those weren't tears of despair. I'll give you 2 seconds to Google what despair means, and don't worry, I even turned on the captions to help you spell. Okay, welcome back. Those were tears of joy from the overwhelming amount of support I received within minutes of posting my GoFundMe, but I could understand how you can't comprehend that because you are a miserable person who can't conceptualize love and joy. And the thing is, while you're out here making jokes about George Floyd and even hating on other conservative women's engagement rings, which you don't have, my community rallied behind me. I raised enough money in one day to keep the lights on and continue to combat the kind of hate people like you spew. Meanwhile, you have to spew more hate just to stay relevant. My platform grows because people respect what I say, and yours moves forward because people can't look away from a train wreck.
Alright, this is the only time I'm ever going to address this. First of all, I am not MAGA. I was not at a MAGA rally. I went to a memorial for Charlie Kirk, a man who was brutally assassinated in front of thousands of people, a man who has a wife and children who will never get to see him again, and despite our differing beliefs, a man who did not deserve to die. I don't agree with a lot of what Charlie believed. Do I think that means he should be shot and killed? No. And if you disagree with that, we truly have nothing in common. I was so disturbed last Wednesday when I opened TikTok and had to watch the video of him being assassinated, and even more disturbed when I opened the comments and all of them were celebrating and rejoicing his death. I went to pay my respects to a human that died.
Hannah, I'm not gonna lie, I have never heard of you before, but since you decided to address this situation, let's talk about it. You said we have nothing in common if we think someone deserves to die by gun violence, but you showed up to a funeral to pay respects to Charlie Kirk, a man who spent his career arguing that some people do deserve to die by gun violence. You said you were horrified watching Charlie Kirk get shot, so let me ask you, where is that same horror when children are being gunned down in classrooms? There is a genocide happening and children are being unalived daily, and I don't see you making content about that. Trey Reed was found hanging from a tree. Are you going to attend his funeral? Look, you don't have to celebrate Charlie Kirk's murder, but you also don't have to celebrate his life. By your logic, people should have mourned Hitler because he was a human being with a wife. That is how absurd that sounds. You did not fly to Arizona out of some broad compassion for humanity. You flew here because you cared about Charlie Kirk and you aligned with him, and you don't have the guts to admit it. This is the reality of what I get for refusing to mourn Charlie Kirk. I didn't celebrate his death, and I didn't call for violence. I reminded people of the hateful things he said when he was alive. This message comes from a man whose profile picture is with his 10-year-old daughter. His most recent post is celebrating her birthday and calling her a blessing. Yet this same man tells another woman she deserves sexual violence. And Megan West sent me a very lovely message in which she said she hopes someone tortures and kills me. Now, is that something a woman, a mother, or a healthcare worker should be saying? The hypocrisy here is that the right insists that me losing my job for speaking out is accountability. There is an immense difference between not mourning a public figure's death and explicitly wishing literal death and violence of the worst kind on someone. One is free speech and one is violent threats. If accountability means losing my livelihood for words, then surely the people sending these messages, people with children or people trusted to work in care or beauty, should face accountability for calling for rape, torture, and death. The irony couldn't be clearer because I never wished harm on anyone. Yet fathers and mothers, people who brand themselves as caretakers, are filling my inbox with violent fantasies. If accountability culture is real, it needs to start with people like this. You know what bothers me about RFK Jr. and this whole Tylenol thing? It's not just that he's not qualified to be breaking medical news, which he's not, it's the way that he frames it. He claims Tylenol might cause autism, and suddenly people are acting like autism is this burden on society we need to prevent. It feels less like medical news and more like eugenics because it treats autistic people like they are a problem or a mistake instead of human beings. Something that I find interesting is nobody ever seems to complain that Elon Musk is autistic. He's a billionaire, he's in the spotlight constantly, and nobody's out here saying he shouldn't exist. But when it comes to everyday people, autism gets painted as this life-ruining tragedy. Society does not care about autism, it cares about preserving some image of normal. Even if, for argument's sake, Tylenol did have some sort of connection, which I don't think it does, why is the reaction, oh no, we need to stop these people from existing? That says way more about how we view autistic people than it does about Tylenol. Autistic people are not a burden. They're not a stain on society. They are valuable, capable, creative, and just as worthy of life and dignity as anyone else. The fact that we're still having conversations that treat them like problems to be prevented is what really bothers me. This morning, I woke up to a message being invited to appear on Timcast with my travel and accommodations covered, and when I declined, they offered $5,000. And here's the thing, I don't care if I'm unemployed, my morals aren't for sale, and I will never platform white supremacist, anti-gay, incel nonsense. To the folks cashing checks to sit on Jubilee or whatever podcast just to argue their own humanity, take notes. You're not opening dialogue, you're giving bigots the legitimacy they don't deserve. And while we're at it, the same goes for the shills taking $7,000 a post to defend Israel's genocide. I do not debate whether people deserve to exist freely, safely, or equally. Hope this helps.
I will never again be the same person I was on October 6th, 2023.
It's wild how quickly people found empathy on October 7th but had none for decades of Palestinian suffering before it. Palestinians didn't just wake up one day and decide to fight back. Their entire existence has been shaped by decades of displacement and violence long before October 7th. During the Nakba in 1948, over 750,000 Palestinians were forced from their homes when Israel was created. Literally, entire villages were wiped off the map. In 1953, 1956, 1982, and so many years in between, Israeli forces carried out operations that killed civilians and destroyed communities. In 1967, Israel occupied the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, and Palestinians have been living under military rule ever since. Over the years, Gaza has been bombed repeatedly, 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, each time killing hundreds to thousands of civilians, many of them children. Even in 2023, before October 7th, Israeli forces had already killed over 200 Palestinians in the West Bank alone, making it one of the deadliest years on record. So when people say, I'll never be the same after October 7th, I just wish they'd also ask, how long were Palestinians supposed to sit back and endure this? Because history didn't begin on October 7th. So most people don't know this, but the city of Mesa, Arizona has an active agreement with ICE called the 287G agreement, and it basically lets local police officers act as ICE from within the jail. If someone gets arrested for something minor, their immigration status can be checked and ICE can ask the jail to hold them longer so they can start deportation proceedings. Now, Mesa says it's only used in jail and not on the streets, but that doesn't make it harmless. People in the community have been showing up to city council meetings calling it out, saying it opens the door to racial profiling, wrongful detentions, and fear in immigrant neighborhoods. The weird thing about all of this is it's completely voluntary. Mesa doesn't have to do this. The city can end the agreement at any given time. So if you live in or near Mesa, reach out to your city council and ask them why your local police are working with ICE at all. Public safety shouldn't depend on your immigration status. You ever notice how the conservative influencer space is basically just a dumping ground for failed careers? Like, if the NFL, Hollywood, or modeling agencies didn't want you, well, congratulations, because Fox News probably does. Take Jeffrey Mead and John McEntee. Both had college football dreams that crashed and burned. McEntee literally threw almost as many interceptions as touchdowns in 2 years, and when the football thing didn't work out, they traded playbooks for politics. Because if you can't win on the field, you can always go play quarterback for the culture war. Then there's Riley Gaines, who tied for 5th place. 5th with a trans swimmer, and has spent every day since making trans people ruined my career, her whole brand. Even though she still would have finished 5th. The only thing she's winning now is attention via Fox News appearances. It's not just athletes though. Brett Cooper couldn't get traction as an actress. Emily Wilson, failed model. Xavier DeRusso tried to make it on Netflix reality shows. Didn't. Now he's cashing in on outrage for followers and even gets paid $7,000 per post to promote Israeli propaganda. Candace Owens even had an Explore Talent profile because she wasn't trying to save America back then. She was trying to get cast. But when the